Hi orchestra, this is a quick video about B flat. What is it and how do you play it on your instrument? We're going to start with what are flats. Flats are just half a step lower than naturals. So in order from lowest to highest, it goes flat, then natural, then sharp. Flat cymbals look like just little tiny B's. And when you read them in your music, it's the same thing as reading sharps. You'll either see a flat cymbal right before the note that you need to make flat, or you'll see one in your key signature indicating that that note should be flat for the entire song. We're going to go ahead and learn how to play B flat on our instrument. I'm going to do violins and violas first, then cellos, then basses. Go ahead and grab your instrument so that you can practice along with me. We're going to start by learning how to play B flat on the A string. To play regular B, we just play our first finger, and we need to make it a little bit lower for B flat. So to do that, I'm going to use what we call a low 1. I'm just going to take my first finger and stretch it back towards the scroll and back behind my first finger tape if you still have a tape on your instrument. Now be careful. A lot of people are tempted to just bend their wrist back to be able to reach that B flat, and obviously we don't want to play with a bent wrist. So really work on stretching that first finger backwards. If you think you play with your finger in a kind of a box shape, just make that box a little bit tighter to be able to reach back for your B flat. You can tell if your low 1 is in tune if you play your open A and your B flat right after it. It should sound like Jaws. If it's a little too high, it doesn't quite sound like Jaws, just stretch it a little bit further back. Now if I play all of my A string notes, I'm probably going to have C natural because sharps and flats don't like to mix too often. So I will have a whole step between my B flat and my C natural, and I'll have another whole step between my C natural and my D. If I play all the A string notes, this is what it sounds like. See if you can get that in tune, and then we're going to learn the version of B flat on the G string. If we play B on the G string, it's second finger, and in high 2 position, it's B natural. So all we have to do to make it B flat is play low 2. I'm just going to take my second finger and scooch it back towards my first finger. If I play all the notes on the G string with B flat, I'll have a half step between my A and my B flat, and then a whole step between my B flat and my C. This is what all the notes on the G sound like if I play B flat. Now violin players, in book 2, you guys are going to start with the A string version of B flat with a low 1, and violas you'll start with low 2 on the G string. And then eventually you'll switch and you'll get to practice both notes in the book. I'm going to move on to cello next. For cellos, we're going to start by learning B flat on the G string. We'll eventually learn the A string B flat, but that's a little trickier because it requires a special technique. So I'm going to do that in a separate video. To play B natural on the G string, we usually use 3 fingers. And it's really easy to make it flat. All we do is just use 2 fingers instead. So if I play all the notes on the G string, including B flat, this is what it should sound like. All right, let's move on to the bass version. Hi basses, I'm sorry I don't have a bass at home right now to be able to show this to you. So I'm going to do my best to demonstrate it on a cello, and then I'll play the notes on my piano so you can check them with the notes on your bass. We'll start with the easiest version of B flat, which is the one on the G string. To play B, we normally play 4 fingers, and that's B natural. To make it flat, it's really easy. We just use 2 fingers instead. So if I play all the notes from open G to A to B flat, this is what they should sound like. The next version of B flat is on the A string, and it's just a little bit trickier because we have to learn a new position to be able to play it. We play B natural with our first finger, and we need to make that finger a little bit lower. So I'm going to move my whole hand up the fingerboard, which actually makes the notes go lower. And I'm going to aim for about halfway in between the top of my fingerboard and the first finger tape. So if I put my first finger in that spot, we're playing in what we call half position. You can tell if your first finger is in tune if you play your open A and then your B flat. It should sound like Jaws. Here's what it sounds like on the piano. So really listen and make sure that you're not aiming too high or too low, and that finger really sounds like Jaws when you play it with your open A. The big trick to half position is remembering what finger to play for the next note. If we're playing B flat, we're most likely going to have C natural because flats and sharps don't like to mix too often. So to play C natural in half position, I'm going to play that with 4 fingers. You might think that that's the same finger as C sharp, but remember our whole hand moved a little bit lower. If your first finger's lower, so is your 4th finger, and now it lines up on the same spot as your C natural. So if I play all the notes from G, or from open A up to C natural, this is what they should sound like. All right guys, that's how you play B flat on your instrument. So make sure you take a look through your book too and you get started on songs number 93 and 94. Have fun practicing.